everyone, welcome to the Food and Beer Night. I'm Cameron Nelson, part of the LifeWorks Charitable Foundation board. The video you are going to watch tonight is one of the videos as part of our virtual event this year. I had a lot of fun doing this video. I was lucky enough to be a part of it. There are 3 other videos and a live event, all from November 2nd through November 6th. You can go to LifeWorks Community Services Facebook page to see all these videos, or you can go to lifeworkscommunityservices.org and click on the 2020 fundraiser button to go to the fundraiser page where you can see links to all the videos. You can register for the live event as well as register for the silent auction. A lot of great silent auction items this year. Really excited about the silent auction. So in tonight's video, I was able to spend time with Chef Michael from Iowa Central and Nate McCubbin from Shiny Top Brewing. Chef Michael will show you how to prepare 3 different appetizers, all with the common theme of beer brats, being as that the other portion of the video with Nate McCubbin from Shiny Top Brewing, where he talks all about how to make beer. A lot of people don't know the nuances that there are to go in to making beer, so he talks about all of that, and because of that, we paired the beer with the beer brats. I had a lot of fun with this video, being able to learn so much from both these guys. Once again, we do appreciate you joining us for our virtual event this year, and definitely bid on those silent auction items and check out all the videos because there's a lot of neat stuff that you can see this year. Thanks so much. Doing a little something different this year. We have the videos leading up to our live event, and we have a very special treat on this video. A man that needs no introduction, but I'll let him give one himself. Great supporter of LifeWorks, has done a lot for us in the past. Is going to show us how to make a couple neat little appetizers that you can do right at home. So, Chef Michael.
Thank you, Cameron. Okay, right. So I kind of decided we were going to, because there's quite a bit of beer going on with this event, and I think you've had a video down at the brewery.
Yes,
so
Shiny Top, yep.
What we decided was to incorporate that into this and kind of make our German-themed beer brat appetizers. So really fairly quickly and fairly easily, we basically bought a packet of local beer brats from here in town, Fort Dodge, and we took all the meat out of the skin of 5 of them and kept 1 in the skin. So the first one that we kept in the skin, what we did was I always put my brats into boiling water for about 2-3 minutes. It just draws out some of the fat, kind of seals them in nicely. So when you brown them in a pan, they don't split, they don't burst, so that's really kind of an easy way of doing it. And all I've done is I've cut these up into 6 pieces. So we've got 6 pieces of our cooked brat right here, and we're going to skewer these. I got some little organic cherry tomatoes, or grape tomatoes as we call them. I'm going to skewer a little bit. Now the brat is cooked, so we're just going to flash these through the oven. I boiled some red potatoes and then brown them off in a bit of butter in a pan. So we're skewering that onto here too. And then I'm just finishing it with a little bit of mozzarella. So all we're going to do, and basically that's a skewered, what should we call that? A caprese brat skewer. So it's got a bit of Mediterranean with a bit of German in there. But actually pretty tasty when it's all mixed together. So we're going to put those together very quickly. And these will not take very long in the oven at all. You could add a thing like, if you wanted to put a piece of basil on there, you could. You could put any flavor potatoes, don't have to be reds.
Probably any cheese.
And any cheese too, absolutely.
I'd be loading it up with cheese because I'm a cheese kind of guy.
And we put 1 small bit, but you know what, I think we're gonna double up on the mozzarella here.
That's the one I've eaten.
But because the tomato is only gonna take a couple of minutes, we don't want it falling apart and overcooking. So by the time that mozzarella is just starting to get soft, these will be done. So we're literally talking something that could be made the day before and just sat in your fridge, and then the day of your cocktail party, just take them out, pop them straight in the oven. You're good to go. So we've done 3 of those. I don't know how many you and I are going to eat today, Cam. So
well,
we'll see how we go with it.
Eat all those, but
so there's 3 of those there. All right. So that's dish number 1.
So the way I'm picking up on this, all these are going to go in the oven at the same time.
They are.
Awesome.
Yep. So The second one, again, we took the meat out of the brat skin, put it into a bowl. I've sauteed off some onions, a little bit of garlic, salt and pepper as well, and I've just mixed that in there, and a little bit of breadcrumbs just to bring it all back together so it's nice and firm. And I part cooked for about 4 minutes some of these lovely cremini mushrooms, which you can get from a local food store. It begins with H and ends in V, just as a clue where I get these mushrooms from. And then all we did was, again, they were seasoned, salt and pepper, a little bit of butter, bake those mushrooms about 3 minutes, take them out of the oven. We've put our raw sausage mix in here that's got all the onions and the seasoning, a little bit of breadcrumbs in. And these could sit in your fridge now, again, overnight. You could make them the day before, just have them on a tray ready to go. And then all we're going to do with these, into the oven. That sausage meat's going to take about 8 to 9, maybe 10 minutes to cook at the most, at about 400 degrees.
They already smell good.
All right, so that's those two there. So we'll put those together.
Yep.
1, 2, and 3. And then the last one, I decided to be this is a little taste of home for me. And this is something that, this is a sheet of puff pastry. Again, you can get those from that lovely food store in town that we all know well. What I'm going to do is basically make a sausage roll. So in this pot, again, we've got our ground sausage meat, and we've added a little bit of breadcrumb to it, some sauteed onions and garlic, and this time I put a bunch of chopped fresh sage in. So it's got a real Thanksgiving-y kind of smell to it.
Oh, yes, it does.
So what we're going to do, we're basically going to roll this guy up and put...
Now, when you get the sausage meat out, do you cut it and then just kind of, does it just fall out? Or
just squeeze it out.
Squeeze it right
literally,
out.
yeah.
Okay.
Just cut one end of the brat and squeeze the skin, and out comes this lovely...
Okay.
And the nice thing about buying the brats, because they're already seasoned, they've got beer in there, so there's a lot of flavour in there, rather than just plain ground pork or sausage meat. These have actually got that lovely beer brat flavour to them. All we've done is remove the actual case.
This is my type of thing here.
So here we go. We've put our little row of beer brat meat that we flavoured with sage into there. And all we're going to do, I'm just going to pop this pastry over the top. I'm sticking first. This is like the bit when it's like making videos with children and animals. I was advised not to do it. So we're going to fold that over, and then I'm just going to tuck that nice and tight there, and we're going to trim off that excess.
Okay. So you could probably make a couple of these with just...
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I've left my knife on the wrong table.
Yep.
So we're back here. There we go. And again, the hard work is kind of just basically making the flavour in those skins. Taking the meat out, adding the onions. Once you've done all this, again, this is another job you could do the day before.
Yep.
Really, really simple. So
this is almost like, kind of like a pigs in a blanket type.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
So you could, I'm taking over here, and I'm not the expert by any means, but could you put like maybe some cheese in there too?
More cheese.
I'm a cheese kind of guy. I am.
You can indeed.
Okay.
I mean, you could add anything into that
Okay.
sausage mixture you wanted to. What I suggest though, if you're making like 3 or 4 hors d'oeuvres, don't have cheese on every single hors
Gotcha.
d'oeuvre. Otherwise, every mouse in the local area is going to be at your house. So we've got a little tray here. We're going to pop him on there. We're going to brush him with a little bit of egg wash. So this is just
okay.
a whole egg, just whisked up. It's just going to colour and give us a really nice brown texture and a really crispy outside to our...
That is interesting. I thought it was butter the whole time.
No, egg wash.
Okay.
A little egg wash. And then, just to help these guys cook, I'm going to make a little slit in the puff pastry.
Okay.
So it helps get the heat inside, and also the sausage will expand a little bit inside. And this will give it room to expand inside the pastry without making the pastry burst. So we've just got little slits across the top there, like so. And then these are ready to go into the oven. So
with both these pans here, are we greasing the pans ahead of time?
they were both sprayed,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
both were sprayed in advance, so nothing sticks.
Okay.
And again, preheated oven to, we're on about 375. So 375 to 400. I've got an electric oven. If you've got a gas, it's the same temperature. So we'll pop them in, and I guess we'll be back to taste in a moment or two.
Perfect.
All right.
Well, we're back here. Took a little break here while the first two cooked up. We do have the sausage roll still in the oven, getting finished up. As Chef said before, it takes a little bit longer than these two. But we got these two here, and they smell and look amazing.
It's a difficult job keeping him away from these. So, as you can see, the mozzarella melted, the sausage just warmed through, the tomato is to the touch, just a touch soft. You don't want them really soggy because they'll burst and you'll end up wearing it down your shirt. But that's just that little fun skewer or a sausage or brat kebab, if you want to call it that, kebab as we call them.
Are we waiting? Are we going?
No, you can go.
I've been waiting.
Can tuck in. All right, let's give this first guy a go.
What's the way for a kebab? I mean, you can't go just straight. You get just one at a time.
I'm going to go 2 pieces at a time.
Okay, I like it.
So a bit of cheese, bit of potato.
I went 3.
Well, the secret of making a kebab as well, make sure you don't have too much at the end exposed, because when people eat it straight away, you're going to end up stabbing your tonsils.
I'm going to save that tomato for last. Oh, wow.
That's kind of like a dinner in one go, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That cherry tomato. Wow, that's good.
It just pops at the end there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it did too. That was great.
All right, so that's our little kebab. These are our baked mushrooms. So these are a little bit hot. I don't think you're going to have trouble eating a whole one, but I'm going to cut them in half anyway, so we can pretend we're civilized.
That's what I always do. You get cheese balls at a restaurant, and everybody, takes a bite of just straight in.
You don't cut your cheese balls in half?
No, I don't. Fork and a knife. Just.
I'll tell you a fun story quickly. My dad visited me in Fort Dodge 3 years ago, and he's the only guy in Fort Dodge I've ever seen eat a hamburger with a knife and fork. So British.
So British. That is amazing.
Those mushrooms are so juicy, aren't they?
That sounds like something I'm supposed to say, and I'm just supposed to like everything. Which, as you can see, I do like most food, Chef. We got another arm sneaking in here. But that is an amazing appetizer. That is an amazing appetizer. I'm going to have more.
Please do. I better join you. I feel less guilty eating 2 halves rather than...
No, just like you said, that mushroom, so juicy, a lot of flavor. And it's crazy. You take the brat meat out of a brat, tastes different.
Yeah.
Of course, we've added some stuff, but that is very, very good. Very easy to do.
And again, make them the day ahead. So if you're doing a dinner party or you're just an hors d'oeuvre party, you've got friends coming around, have that made up in the fridge. All you got to do is bring them out, have them sit for about 20 minutes, get out of the fridge temperature up to room, and then into the oven, and then boom, done. Really simple.
Definitely going to be doing these. So just a couple more minutes here. We'll pop back on with the last little bit here and finish up. Alrighty, we are back for the 3rd time here on the last dish, the sausage roll. Sausage roll. That's what I was going to say. I just wanted to make sure. The sausage roll. We got it out of the oven. The thing was sizzling. So this one altogether, me and Chef were just talking, took about 25 minutes or so.
About that.
And it's cooked perfectly. I just sat here and ate all the other stuff while we were waiting. So I'm about full, but this should do me in. So I think we're about to cut into it now.
Yeah, so all we were doing, we were making sure the pastry's cooked and got a really nice, that egg wash has given it a really nice golden brown. I think you can probably see that on there. I mean, it's stiff, the pastry's golden brown all the way around. Some of the sausage juices started to creep out, so that was bubbling on the tray. So that's a good sign because those juices are running clear as well. So if you're ever cooking, you want clear meat juices, not bloody or slightly cloudy meat juices. So that's your tip for the day. So the proof is in the pudding. This is kind of a sausage Wellington, but we love these in the UK. We'll cook it, let it go cold, and then cut it up, put it in our kids' lunch boxes, that sort of thing. So, but it's just a different kind of dish. Oh, hello. This looks terrible.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. He's lying to you. I don't know if you guys can see it, but trust me, it does not.
All of a sudden, this video is going to end, and then this is going to disappear.
It's going to be gone. The next shot, it'll just be gone.
All right. So the one difference with this the meat inside here. We made it that sort of Thanksgiving-y flavors by adding some sage in there. You could put diced apple in there if you want. Yeah, like we said before, you could put some little cubes of cheese in there too that are melting in the middle of that sausage mixture. So it's playable with whatever you want. It's just it's kind of neat. And the sheets of pastry, don't try and make puff pastry. It's a pain. Just pop down to the local HYV store and pick up some sheets of frozen puff pastry. They're really easy to use.
And before we take these bites here, just a quick recap. So all of these 3 dishes that we did here today were $375 in the oven?
Yep, $375 in the oven. This one, the longest, about 25, so pop him in first. I think the mushrooms are about 12 minutes.
Yep.
And the little skewers with the mozzarella were probably about 6, maybe 6 minutes. And again, all stuff I bought in Fort Dodge, so it's nothing too crazy, and you can adapt these to your own taste buds. So, well, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
All right.
I was hoping you'd say that.
This is going to be hot, so we might not speak for about 30 seconds. Hot. Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it, though.
But it's amazing how guys can force down hot food.
Yep. Even if I couldn't taste for a month, this would be worth it. This is my type of meal.
The other thing I did do.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to, we put you can.
I'll do it on my second piece.
Oh, the second piece. So all this was.
Volunteered myself.
I just made a little bit of spicy mustard mayonnaise, just to drizzle on that too, just to give it another element of flavor. Mm-hmm. The sign of any good hors d'oeuvres is quiet. If people aren't saying anything, it means they're busy eating.
I was going to say,
I'm
not saying anything right now.
Silence is gold.
Mm-hmm. You're right about the pastry, though. I mean, it's very flaky.
Yeah.
Cooked perfectly. And there's still some left for other people to enjoy. So I feel comfortable having this big behemoth piece here.
You didn't invite anybody else,
The biggest piece. Nope.
Oh, good.
Nope. But there may be other people. I'm going to try this mustard here, too. Just going to dip it there.
Fun party food. And like I said, all out of just buying a packet of brats and just squeezing the meat out of the skin. You could buy your own sausage meat and do it that way too, but I like the idea of actually using the beer brat because it's already got that flavor and seasoning in there. Just ties really well if you're tasting beers and having a different range of beers. We've got some brilliant breweries in town in Fort Dodge here, so get to them.
Couple great breweries here in town, and as you said, the other part of this video was Shiny Top. Having the beer brats with the beer makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish that off camera, that way people, I'm sure I got flakes in my beard. I got all sorts of stuff going on here.
I think we got dessert coming soon.
I don't want people to continue to watch how much enjoyment I'm getting out of that, because it's kind of weird. But we thank you guys for watching. Once again, Chef Michael, thanks so much.
Pleasure, buddy.
We greatly appreciate it.
A lot of fun.
Been a long-time supporter of LifeWorks, so we definitely appreciate him taking the time, showing us this stuff that everybody can do at home. Even someone like me, who's usually a mac and cheese type of guy, I can do this
You're
stuff.
a convert now.
Yeah, I am. I'm definitely doing this. So,
awesome.
Chef Michael, again, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the virtual event for LifeWorks here this year. I am here at Shiny Top Brewing here in Fort Dodge with Nate
McCubbin.
Nate McCubbin. So we appreciate you being a part of the virtual event. As you know, with this video, we also were at Iowa Central with Chef Michael, and he prepared some beer brat appetizers because he knew that we were going to be talking about beer. So I'm going to let Nate kind of take it away with,
how to make beer?
Exactly.
Excellent.
Ins and outs of the beers.
I know how to make beer very well. Very basically, we soak barley, malted barley. Now, malted barley is barley that's been even partially sprouted and then dried out to release an enzyme to break down the starches, which is very basic. No, that's kidding. That's a very complicated thing.
I was going to say, not basic.
We as a brewery get the barley already malted, so we don't do anything with that part. We're just glad it gets done. There's actually specified equipment and businesses that do that. As a brewer, I get malted barley in different types, and I'll get into that in a little bit. but we soak the barley to release this sugar, the enzymes, and the enzymes break down the sugar so we can ferment them. So once we get the barley in water at a certain temperature and a certain pH, and we have to adjust those for the best conversions, we take that water and put it into a very, very large kettle. Now, depending on how big your system is how big your kettle is and all your equipment. We take that and we boil it. Why do we boil it, you ask?
Why do you boil it?
Why do we boil it? Because there's a lot of other stuff that come in with that barley, and we don't want them around.
Okay.
They're living organisms that make our beer taste bad. Ooh. So we boil it pretty much to sanitize it.
And your beer doesn't taste bad.
It's delicious.
I can speak from personal experience.
Everybody has their own flavor, but my beer's the best.
Agreed.
I believe. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm biased.
So during that boil, it's a very sugary water. At this point, we pretty much have sugar water that is barley flavored sugar water. To balance some of that sweetness from all the sugars in there, we throw in hops as something to make it a little bitter.
Okay.
And you can adjust that different types of hops. There's many varieties of hops that have many different flavors.
So I think that's maybe something that people kind of get confused on when you see some craft beer, and like here at Shiny Top, I think you guys even have on the menu the bitterness level.
Yeah, IBU is International Bittering Unit. So that ranges from low, like your average Bud Light, Budweiser is somewhere around a 7. And then the highest IPAs could be well over 100. Just very, very bitter, which some people like and some people don't like. The national trend is going for hoppy but not bitter, which you do by what time you put the hops into the boil.
Okay.
So you can adjust that from very early in the boil. We boil for an hour to sanitize it and get the hops going. So the more hops you put in early in the boil, the more bitter it's going to be.
Okay.
So I have 2 IPAs that I don't put any hops in until the very, very end because I want all that hop flavor, but I don't want the bitterness.
Gotcha.
So depending on when you put the hops in, so people will say, "Oh, this is way too bitter," but they don't understand the difference between bitter and hoppy.
Right.
So it can be very, very hoppy, but not very bitter, but they just think the two are the same, which I get it. When I didn't know much about beer, I thought the same thing.
And when
I'm like, ooh, IPAs, I might as well eat a pine cone.
That's what a lot of people think.
But now I'm like, I love that pine cone.
Yep. And when you're talking about the boiling, is that what the tanks back here, is that where?
Further back behind the bathrooms are our brewing kettles.
Gotcha.
These tanks in here are fermenters, which I'll get to. So after we get done boiling it, we want to cool it down as fast as possible to pitch temperature, which we're pitching yeast. So you put yeast in, it's called pitching yeast, and you want that somewhere around 60 to 70 degrees. Each beer is different and each yeast is different, so you have to adjust. We do all ales here, we don't do any lagers.
Okay.
So all beers can be broken down to one of the two. Either every beer is an ale or a lager. There's different categories inside that. Stouts, reds, are all
variations
ales,
of the two.
Variations of the two. Which is really neat because it just matters. One yeast works at the top of the fermenter, one yeast works at the bottom. And they work at very different temperatures though. You want to lager at a more of like a 40 degree range, and you want ale yeast to work more of a 60 to 70 degree range. So just because where they work at, what works best for them. So once we cool it down as fast as possible to that, we put in the yeast, and within somewhere 2 weeks to 3 months, depending on what you're making,
Right.
Generally the higher alcohol beers need to sit there much longer to mellow out. So the yeast go to work and they eat up that sugar, as much sugar as they can, and their byproduct is CO2 and alcohol. And then we drink that alcohol responsibly.
I feel like you did a very good job of kind of dumbing that down for me.
A little bit.
I think that...
There's a lot to it.
Yes, that's what it seems like.
Big, but that is the basic, and there's a lot of things that go into it.
Okay.
But that is the easiest way to explain it.
And on one of the other videos for the virtual event here, the winery went through kind of how there's so many S's, I think like 4 or 5 S's of sampling wine. Is there anything special with beer, or is it just
beer?
You just savor
we
it?
sample it at every level, but you just have to know, like when it first comes out we don't really sample it when it's boiling because that would hurt.
Yep.
But after we cool it down, we take a sample. It tastes similar to the finished product without the yeast flavor, but it's also very, very, very sweet because the yeast haven't eaten those sugars yet. So you expect to taste something that pretty much you're tasting the grains, and then you're tasting what that beer might gonna end up like.
What?
After the fermentation process, we taste it again. We actually have to chill it down so the yeast kind of settle out, but it's uncarbonated, and it definitely something different, but it gives you a very good idea of what that beer will taste like at the end. And then of course we taste it again after we've carbonated it and kegged it. Then we taste it again and make sure that it's good to serve.
And how, if there was a number, and I'm assuming it's a pretty high number, because I've had as you know, a slight experience with making a beer.
Yes.
I am a former employee of Shiny Top. And so
my first male employee
I
ever.
know, I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
And Nate was gracious enough to let me essentially pick out a beer. So I was able to look and pick out the hops and the...
We worked on the grains together.
Okay, yes. And
yeah.
It was really interesting because I found one that was actually Nelson...
Servine?
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
And so it worked out with my
Remember
last
that beer
name,
well.
of course. So that worked out really well. So when it goes into making the beer with all those different types of grains, how many do you think are there? Just an infinite? Yeah.
There is an infinite number of beers you can make.
That's what I was wondering.
I mean, they will end up very similar. So we don't use just one type of barley. Like anywhere from 80 to 90, 100% of it is just standard 2-row barley. But then you get like the darker beers, like the oatmeal stout, we'll throw in roasted barley. So that's barley that's been put in like a big drum kind of oven that tumbles, and it'll roast the barley. Like imagine putting marshmallows into an oven. You know, like the longer it's in there, the darker it gets.
Right.
That's very similar because the sugars caramelize more, so you're going to get that darker. But even like my oatmeal stout is 85%, just that standard 2-row barley. It's like the flour in cookies. So you're making cookies, you're going to have flour, sugar, eggs, but then some people put raisins in, some chocolate chips, some butterscotch chips. So that's those roasted grains are like the chocolate chips or the raisins, and so you can make different things, but that basic beer is very similar.
Okay. And obviously this establishment here is professional and has everything down. There's the growing trend of home brewing.
Yes, that's exactly how I started.
Oh, perfect.
A number of years ago, started. We're talking with my brother about beers and hobbies, and how about he talked when he was in the Army. He was in Germany and loved this Hefeweizen beer that he just loved to death. So we went down to Des Moines to a homebrew shop. I think the next weekend, and I bought. He didn't buy it. I bought $500 worth of brewing equipment, got a beer kit. I went over the top because I'm like, I'm gonna love this. This is awesome. I've tended to go over the top a few times. And we got home the next day. We boiled it. We got a big kettle, a big burner. We boiled it up, made that beer, waited patiently for 2 weeks. Bottled it, waited another 2 weeks because it takes a while to carbonate in the bottle. And we sat down for that first beer and drank it, and it was most god-awful mess.
That's what I was wondering.
It was awful. And well, we thought we followed all the directions just right, and apparently we did not.
And then
that
awful beer turned into this.
Yes. I decided I better learn about brewing before I do it again. So I brought Home Brewing for Dummies, off Amazon. I'm like, well, let's see what can't hurt it, because it was awful. By the way, I did drink every one of my beers. We split it down the middle. It was about a case of beer each. I suffered through every one of my beers because I never wanted to do that again.
Powered through.
You learn from your failure, and I drank my failure. Plus, I'm going to drink it anyway.
Drank my failure.
Yep.
So I guess everybody watching at home, there's plenty of ways to home brew at home.
Yep.
But I do think that it's really neat to hear the ins and outs of it. So I'm glad you were able to share that with us, because that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that there's more than just Busch Light and Bud Light out there.
Yeah. Those are very popular beers. I can't say I didn't drink Budweiser before I started brewing. But it's definitely a whole different world. So all those beers, Busch Light, Bud Light, Coors Light, are all one. They are a lager, but they're American Pilsner lager. They're one very slim, node of all, like the whole world of beers. They're about very one little style. So there's a whole lot of stuff out there. So that's what people are used to because of our heritage, and you know who made beer at the right time is Anheuser-Busch made it, and it's still here. But there is a growing trend for craft beer.
Definitely good to hear the ins and outs of it. I guess we should probably say before we wrap up that anybody drinking should always drink responsibly.
Very, very much so. So the one thing about craft beer is you're not going to sit here and pound 10 of them.
Right.
You're going to sit here and have a couple of them, one or two.
Enjoy them.
And it's going to be over a long period of time because they're not the chugging beers. And we don't want that.
Right.
That's why we have a very nice establishment here, because we don't want the burly guys getting all overindulging and start trouble. So that's why we really enjoy what we do here.
I think most everybody around here enjoys what you do.
Well, thank you, sir.
Me included. So, Nate, once again, I appreciate you taking the time to explain.
Well, thank you for having me.
The beer making process to us. Thanks everybody once again for joining us in the virtual event here this year. Don't forget to jump on and look at those silent auction items, and the live event we will be having Thursday as well. So thanks again, Nate.
Thanks for your support for LifeWorks. I appreciate it. Thanks, Cameron.
Thank you.
Once again, thanks so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate you being a part of our virtual event this year. Being as that the kickoff video had a little bit to do with football, and I participated in the beer and food video, which can oftentimes be associated with football, I thought it was fitting I do this video here in my Bears room in my house. Let me tell you a little bit about the LifeWorks Charitable Foundation's history. In 2008, LifeWorks Community Services had financial challenges, as many other places did during the Great Recession. The board of directors recognized the need to have a different source of dollars to support the critical mission of LifeWorks regardless of the financial times. When times are tight, does LifeWorks just quit serving people with disabilities? Not if it can help it. People need LifeWorks services. Supports are critical so people can live and work in the community of their choice. So the idea of a foundation was envisioned. The LifeWorks Charitable Foundation was founded in 2009. It worked hard to establish its board, its visions, and its policies. In 2011, it had its first annual fundraiser, which continues to this day, which you are a part of right now. Once again, thank you so much. Now that I've told you a little bit about the history of the foundation, let me tell you where the dollars go. Dollars given to the foundation are intended to be endowed, with a minimal amount spent for necessary operating expenses. What does endowed mean? It means that dollars go into investments, and the interest earned on those investments is used. That means the foundation is a perpetual source of funding. When times are tight, the foundation can be a part of the solution. When there's a high-cost repair needed, the foundation can help. When something comes along that can make services better, the foundation can contribute. I'm asking you to consider supporting the LifeWorks Charitable Foundation to help the work of LifeWorks as it helps people with disabilities live their best lives. I've told you about the history of the LifeWorks Charitable Foundation and where the money goes. Now, let me tell you how you can help. There are 3 basic ways to help the LifeWorks Charitable Foundation: contribute, come forward, and campaign. To contribute to the foundation, go to the fundraiser's website and donate by clicking the button. Remember the LifeWorks Charitable Foundation in your year-end giving. Consider how to help the foundation when you do your estate planning. Consider non-cash gifts of things like stock and farmland. Come forward for the foundation. The foundation needs people to contribute their talent. It needs people to help get silent auction items. The foundation needs people to serve on committees. The LifeWorks Charitable Foundation needs you. Finally, campaign for the foundation. Tell friends about the good work LifeWorks and the foundation does. Like LifeWorks Community Services on Facebook and share its posts. Come back for the live event on Thursday, November 5th at 7 p.m. Learn more about LifeWorks Community Services on its website, then share it with your friends. Remember, we need you to contribute. Come forward and campaign.